Society sets up getting married and having kids as the two most important things a woman can do with her life, and I wanted them at least as much as I was told I should. Nearing 30, having had boyfriends but never really being in love, going to friends' weddings practically every weekend, constantly alone, dodging calls because I didn't want to hear another pregnancy announcement. I didn't know what was wrong with me. Why everyone else seemed to slide so easily into a loving union, and I was forced to learn to sunscreen my own back. If I were good enough, I thought that would put me beyond criticism, keep me safe and get me loved. Not consciously, but intractably. Consciously, I knew perfect was a capitalistic, patriarchal lie to keep women spending billions of dollars to prop up the global economy on women's insecurity. But even seeing behind the rhetorical veil, I still wanted nothing more than the insulation, security, and self-worth I thought came with being chosen. Because little girls are taught to want to be chosen. I hadn't been chosen yet, so I needed to work on being more perfect. Walking down Connecticut Avenue on one of those rare, perfect spring days in D.C., when all the crocuses are blooming before summer's humidity hits, I knew this would be my last date for a while. Not because David 2828 looked especially promising on his profile, or that he'd wowed me in the chats we'd exchanged trying to set up this brunch, but because I was thoroughly burnt out from the searing mediocrity and occasional horrors of online dating. I was only going out with David because I'd already agreed to it and I didn't want to flake. My ambivalence slowed my departure and I was running 20 minutes late. I'd apologized via text, but still felt bad about it when I opened the door to Kramer's, a bookstore and restaurant in DuPont Circle that was my go-to for first dates. Even if the company sucked, the strawberry mimosas would make it tolerable. I basically stopped drinking after being diagnosed with chronic Lyme disease after college, so these occasional cocktails were a rare treat for me. Flinging the door open, I heard, "David, your table is ready," announced as I almost collided with a man perusing books at the entrance. He was my height, or a little shorter, but solid like a brick wall, wearing jeans and a loose flannel. Our eyes met momentarily, his blue and even more intensely so set against his tan. To my automatic question on first impressions of first dates, can I see myself ever wanting to have sex with him? I thought, yeah, maybe. "Oh, are you David?" I asked as we both moved toward the hostess stand. "Yeah, Anne?" he asked, pronouncing my name the way it's spelled. "Yeah, but it's actually pronounced Annie." "I like that," he said, but the way he smiled made me think he liked more than my name. I hadn't worn any makeup because I wasn't expecting much from this date, and it was 11:23 a.m. on a Sunday, the most unsexy time that can ever still acceptably be suggested for a date. I was wearing a button-down shirt dress I bought at Goodwill and my favorite pair of Steve Madden boots, legs shaved below the knee. I felt myself flush under his gaze, self-conscious that I hadn't tried harder, and tentatively excited that he didn't seem to want more. "What did you pick out?" I asked after we were seated, gesturing at the bag in his hand. "Another copy of a favorite. Have you read The History of Love by Nicole Krauss?" "No, is it good?" I asked out of habit, liking the cover and him for purchasing a book by a woman author. "Here, I guess it was for you," he said, sliding his recently purchased copy across the table. "I only shop at independent bookstores and I try to buy something every time I come in." I was smitten before the breadbasket arrived. We ate, talking for hours until we couldn't justify keeping the table any longer. "Do you want to ride home? I know you walked," he asked, putting his hand lightly against the small of my back as we exited the restaurant patio.